With us now is Republican Congressman Jodey Arrington of Texas, and he happens to be the chairman of the House Budget Committee, so he's got his work cut out for him. And he put together round one, and now he's waiting for the return volley from the Senate. Mr. Chairman, thanks for making time for us. Over in the Senate, the fiscal hawks say not enough cuts. You're not cutting deeply enough, but moderates are concerned about potential changes to Medicaid, among other things. We've talked to members from both of those camps here, and they've said that they voted for the version in the House because they were promised it would come back from the Senate moving in their direction. They cannot both be right, can they?
No, you have to strike a balance so that everybody has to grab a hold of the rope and pull our country back from the precipice of a debt crisis and to restore fiscal health, which means we have to incent investment and growth. That's where the tax cuts come in, reining in regulation, opening up domestic energy production. But we have to bend the curve on mandatory spending. That's 75% of the entire federal budget. It's 90% of the growth in spending. That spending has to come down. We have a bunch of waste and woke and bloat, and we've got to start pulling that down so that we can have better and brighter days ahead of us, both economically, from a security perspective, and for our children's future and global leadership. That's what's at stake, and we did that in a balanced way in our resolution, offsetting the cost of tax cuts by reducing spending at almost $2 trillion and bringing that debt to GDP down. That's what the Senate ought to do. We've cut the path for them. They should follow suit.
Okay, a new report says that folks at the White House are discussing letting tax rates go up on top earners in order to finance some tax cuts for the working class. Now, that would be in keeping with your party's sort of populist vibes these days. What do you say about that idea, about letting some of those, the top rates go up to finance cuts for working class Americans?
Well, I would say that the top 10% of earners in this country already pick up 70% of the freight in terms of the cost of our federal government. I would also say that the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act that we're talking about extending or making permanent actually increased the share of taxes paid by the top 1%. It's the people on the lower income spectrum. It is the families in the middle that saw the highest gains. In fact, they saw 2 times the gains in wages, 3 times the gains in wealth, and we lifted 6 million people out of poverty. So I would just suggest that we ought to lower the tax burden for everybody. All boats rise on the tide of prosperity, and we had record investment, record R&D, and we had record job growth as a result. And we've got to get off of economic high center, avoid a recession, bring down the cost of living. So the tax cuts are a cornerstone of the economic agenda. And if we don't act, Chris, we're going to have a 22% tax hike on every American. That's not sustainable now or at any time. And so we've got to be responsible to extend these, but offset them with reduction in spending so that we don't shift the tax burden to our children, because that's what the deficit and debt is, a deferred tax on our children.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.